Hey, I'm with the owner of a business whose products you may have in your home right now. Matt Nuccio of Design Edge on Long Island invents and develops toys. What are some of the new toys you're working on right now, for instance?
Oh, wow, that's a tricky one because for two reasons. One, we're a development company, so we do a lot of work for big companies. So I'm contracted up the wazoo, as they would say. So I can't talk about what I'm working on right now. And generally, anything that's out right now, we worked on as far back as 2 years ago.
Wow.
So, but I can tell you certain trends that are that are
please.
out. And the big, board games have gone through the roof in the last few years. Well, if you had asked me 15 years ago what I thought of that category, I would have told you it's dying. But now there's more of a need for social interaction than there's ever been, and people have been setting up parties around games.
Imagine that, just like 25 or 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Because maybe those are the parents now who want their kids to do that.
Yeah, I guess, it's that Trivial Pursuit generation that now has kids, and they remember, all that fun they had with their friends. And then on top of that, it's not just with their kids, it's couples getting together, it's families getting together, it's holidays.
So what you don't redesign a new Monopoly, or maybe you do?
I do.
Yeah.
So we do quite a few things. So large toy companies will hire us to work on projects like redoing Trivial Pursuit, which we worked on some packaging and some redesign on that, or we'll work on many other things that they have. Depending, I'm trying to be careful of what I say. I have a lot of contracts, but yeah, they'll get a new movie license or something, and they'll have us read the script, and then we'll have to just develop blindly things that may work within the toy range. But on the other side, we also invent and license our own things. So I might wake up in the middle of the night with an idea, scribble it down, next day come into the office, build a prototype, make a quick video, and present it to a toy company and license it.
I'm speechless. What a great story. How do you get these great contracts with these big companies to do this?
Practice, practice, practice. Now, I've been doing it a very long time. I grew up in the business. I was 14 when my parents started this company out of the garage, originally as a package design firm that focused on toys.
What year was that your parents started?
About 1988. Yeah. Yeah, my father had worked for a toy company for 17 years, and they went bust. And all of a sudden he found himself in a bad position, so he started the company out of the garage with my mother, who was an illustrator. And right out the gate, they were getting a lot of work, and we grew pretty quickly, and by the time I was out of college, about 1997, I was ready to sort of take the reins, worked alongside them for a while. Now they're semi-retired.
So you know people at Fisher-Price, you know people at Mattel, you know people in all these places.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate that I know the older generation and the younger generation, which puts me in a very good position. So I sort of started on second base, as they say.
That's a great story. Just let me take a detour and ask you a question a lot of business owners ask, and they didn't meet people at the companies they're targeting through their parents. What is the key for somebody without contacts like you have to get into a big company to make them a client?
Sure. Well, it depends on what you want to do.
Right.
We're talking about inventing. There's portals that they can upload stuff on, or there's trade shows that they can go to. There's like the Chicago Toy and Game Fair, or a Toy Fair in a few weeks. There's going to be an inventor spotlight called the Creative Factor, which is going to happen the Friday before Toy Fair, which is, I believe February 15th. Might want to check that date. Creative
response. So go to meetings of the industry you're trying to crack into.
Yeah, schmooze. I probably got more of my business from actually going out at night with clients than I did actually sitting in the office over the years.
What have you learned about selling then?
Just be yourself, and be honest. You're not going to get over on them, especially if they know the industry inside out. Don't, try to sell them on a bag of goods that they can see right through pretty quick.
I remember one of the smartest business owners I ever interviewed. I asked her, well, how do you sell? She was in marketing and PR, direct mail. I said, how do you sell? And she was so puzzled. She said, I don't know, I just talk. And I thought for a minute she was kidding me, but that's not so at all. You got to
be yourself.
Yeah, and you cannot fool somebody.
Yeah, and if you don't have the ability to be charismatic or to make friends, but you're very talented at what you do, perhaps you need someone to front you, or a partner, or someone who can. But just make sure it's just shy of like the used car salesman mentality.
It's great. It's great advice. But don't these companies who are your clients have people in-house on staff doing what you're doing too?
Yes, they do. But we are a very reactive company, so we're sort of a guerrilla warfare sort of tactic. So a Mattel will throw us a project, and they'll have us analyze a certain product or line. And we get a few weeks to figure out as much as we can, so they can either help cost reduce or improve upon the product, or engineer it better.
You're the skunk works.
Yes, so then they'll compare us to what they've got in-house, and obviously we do well enough to be doing work with these companies for decades.
What's been the most successful toy you have invented or developed yourself?
Well, we were nominated for Toy of the Year for an item called Storytime Theater, which came out, actually it's had 2 lives. Originally it was done with a company called Spin Master out of Canada, which is now currently, I believe, the number 3 toy company in the world. And it's a projector that projects projects stories onto the wall, and as you turn the page of an actual book, it also changes the page on the wall. So we did that originally about 10 years ago, then we relaunched it 2 years ago, and that's when it was nominated for Toy of the Year, which is our Academy Awards or Grammys. Yeah. And that did quite well, but we've had items that have sold a lot more, so it's hard to figure out where that marries. Right now I have a game with Fisher-Price called Math Bug, which is
Look, I smiled when you said that. Whatever it is, it sounds fun.
It just teaches little kids, the basic math, But you would
a bug does it or something?
No, you get a bug capsule, some cards, and a bunch of dice, and you pull out. They're all in a ladybug, and the ladybugs have different spots, and you roll the dice and you match, the numbers, and it's very, very simple, but it's very thought out. And we have to make sure that the math works and the algorithms are correct, because you never want a game that has a landslide. You want to make sure it's very fair. Games are harder than people think.
Right, because if somebody wins in the first minute every time, that's no fun.
Nobody wants to play. A lot of game inventors come to me. We work with a lot of game inventors too. They bring me their products. We produce for some of them who want to be startups, and we also help license with others. But a lot of them will bring me stuff. It's not fully flushed out. They played it 2 or 3 times with their family, and they think it's done. We spend months figuring out the gameplay. Instructions alone, we rewrite them and rewrite them and rewrite them and rewrite them. It's very difficult to write instructions to a game. People, they write these like they're Emily Dickinson. They write this big, flowery, beautiful instruction manual that's 12 pages. No, it needs to be 1 sheet, and it needs to be very simple, and it needs to program the player to understand how to play. So you don't bust out the thesaurus. You use the same words over and over again, so that you're programming somebody.
I just want to go back on the Showtime Theater that projects a story on the wall.
Yes.
Storytime. Yes. Is that to both entertain and teach a child to read? Is that what that game is to do?
Yes.
To teach them by going along on the pages?
Yeah, we've had a lot of success with toys that also educate. That's a big thing for us at Design Edge. But we also, at the same time, we've worked on lots of action figures and things that are just pure fun. There is an importance to play as well.
So who's your customer? The kid, the parent, or the grandparents?
Well, ultimately, it's the kid, right?
Ultimately.
Yes. But, the parents and the grandparents, they pick something, and then, it trickles down to the child. So, if you want longevity, the kids have to like it.
It seems like this is fun to you.
That's absolutely fun for me. I don't really feel like I work. I come home, I make things up, I wake up in the middle of the night, I got ideas. I meet so many creative people, both on the, people who are heads of industry, then I also meet people who want to break in and just have the spark, and a lot of people are just very excited to work in the toy industry.
But what's interesting too, from a business point of view, is that you don't just serve clients, but you have 3 or 4 different parts of the industry. How does that work? What do you do? What else do you do?
Well, the interesting thing about Design Edge is it grew from a package design firm to being a complete back end. So we are the back end to a dozen or so small toy companies, where we take care of not just developing their product, but doing their packaging, handling their marketing, manufacturing their product, handling the logistics, and getting it to retail. All of those grew in steps. Didn't happen overnight. But they all came about by need. So we were doing packaging, and then people were like, well, can you start designing some product? And early on in my career, like one of the first things I was drawing out of the gate was, there was like, hey, we got this laughing doll. Can you draw a couple sketches of Elmo version of that? So I was 19 doing product concepts for Tickle Me Elmo before it was anything, and that became one of the biggest toys. So that opened up some doors to doing some more product design. So then we started doing a lot of product, and then next thing you know, people are like, we're having costing issues. Well, we engineer, so we understand how products need to be designed. Lo and behold, I'm on a plane. I'm landing in Hong Kong in 2004. I'm opening our first office there to start sourcing for people, and then we've just been doing that ever since. So the only thing, I'm a toy company without actually being a toy company. I hold no inventory. I am everybody else's back end but my own.
Who says business is no fun? Nobody. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
What
really
a wonderful story.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you very much.
Thank you.